Blood sugar regulation is one of the most important ways diet influences your overall health because it directly affects your energy levels, brain function, hormones, and long-term metabolic stability. Every time you eat, especially foods containing carbohydrates, your body breaks them down into glucose, which enters the bloodstream. This rise in blood glucose triggers the release of insulin, a hormone that helps move glucose into cells to be used for energy or stored for later use. When your diet is high in refined sugars and processed carbohydrates, this system becomes unstable. These types of foods are digested quickly, leading to rapid spikes in blood glucose. In response, your body releases a large amount of insulin to bring those levels down. This often results in a sharp drop in blood sugar shortly afterward, creating what is commonly known as a crash. These fluctuations can leave you feeling tired, unfocused, and hungry again within a short period of time. These repeated spikes and crashes don't just affect how you feel in the moment, they also place stress on your metabolic system. Over time, consistently high insulin levels can lead to reduced sensitivity to insulin, a condition known as insulin resistance. When this happens, your body has to produce even more insulin to achieve the same effect, which can eventually contribute to conditions like type 2 diabetes and other metabolic disorders. On the other hand, diets that help stabilize blood sugar create a very different internal environment. When you consume meals that include a balance of protein, healthy fats, and fiber, the digestion and absorption of glucose slow down. This leads to a more gradual rise in blood sugar and a more controlled release of insulin. As a result, energy levels remain steady, and the likelihood of crashes is significantly reduced. Stable blood sugar also has a strong impact on brain function. The brain relies heavily on glucose for fuel, but it functions best when that fuel supply is consistent. Rapid fluctuations in blood sugar can impair concentration, memory, and mood. In contrast, steady glucose levels support sustained attention, clearer thinking, and more stable emotional states throughout the day. Hunger and cravings are also closely tied to blood sugar regulation. When blood sugar drops quickly after a spike, the body signals a need for more energy, often leading to cravings for sugary or high-carbohydrate foods. This creates a cycle where poor dietary choices reinforce themselves. Stabilizing blood sugar helps break this cycle by reducing sudden hunger and making it easier to maintain consistent eating habits. The timing and composition of meals both play a role in this process. Starting the day with a meal that includes protein and healthy fats, rather than relying on simple carbohydrates alone, can set a more stable pattern for blood sugar throughout the day. Similarly, combining carbohydrates with fiber and protein in meals helps slow absorption and maintain balance. Over time, maintaining stable blood sugar supports not just daily energy and focus, but long-term metabolic health, reducing strain on the body and allowing its systems to function more efficiently. Protein intake has a powerful impact on your overall health because it directly influences how your brain functions, how your body repairs itself, and how your metabolism is regulated. At a basic level, proteins are broken down into amino acids, which serve as the building blocks for tissues, enzymes, and many critical molecules in the body. But beyond structure, amino acids also play a key role in producing neurotransmitters that regulate mood, motivation, and mental clarity. Neurotransmitters like dopamine, serotonin, and norepinephrine are all derived from specific amino acids found in protein-rich foods. Dopamine, for example, is closely tied to motivation, focus, and goal-directed behavior, while serotonin is associated with mood stability and a sense of well-being. If your diet lacks sufficient protein, your brain may not have the raw materials it needs to produce these chemicals efficiently, which can affect how you feel and how well you function mentally. Protein also plays a central role in physical repair and maintenance. Every time you engage in physical activity, especially resistance training or intense movement, you create small amounts of damage in muscle tissue. Protein provides the amino acids necessary to repair and rebuild that tissue, making it stronger over time. Without adequate protein, this repair process is limited, which can lead to slower recovery, reduced strength, and increased fatigue. Another important effect of protein is its influence on satiety, or the feeling of fullness. Compared to carbohydrates and fats, protein tends to be more satisfying and helps reduce hunger over longer periods. This is partly due to its effect on certain hormones that regulate appetite. When protein intake is sufficient, it becomes easier to control overall calorie intake without feeling deprived or constantly hungry. Protein also has a stabilizing effect on blood sugar. When you include protein in a meal, it slows the digestion and absorption of carbohydrates. This leads to a more gradual rise in blood glucose and a more controlled insulin response. As a result, energy levels remain more stable, and the likelihood of sharp spikes and crashes is reduced. This contributes not only to better physical energy, but also to improve focus and mood throughout the day. The timing of protein intake can further influence these effects. Consuming protein earlier in the day, particularly at breakfast, can help set a stable tone for energy and appetite regulation. It can reduce midday cravings and support more consistent performance, both mentally and physically. Spreading protein intake across meals rather than consuming it all at once also helps maintain a steady supply of amino acids for ongoing repair and function. The quality of protein sources matters as well. Whole food sources that provide a complete profile of essential amino acids tend to support the body more effectively than highly processed options. These sources often come with additional nutrients that contribute to overall health. When protein intake is adequate and well distributed, it supports a wide range of systems in the body, from brain chemistry and muscle repair to metabolism and appetite control, making it a central component of any effective diet. The type and amount of dietary fats you consume have a direct impact on your brain function, hormone production, and overall inflammation levels in the body. Fats are not just a source of energy. They are fundamental components of cell membranes and play a critical role in maintaining the structure and function of your nervous system. In fact, a large portion of the brain is composed of fat, which means the quality of fats in your diet can influence how well your brain operates. Different types of fats behave very differently in the body. Healthy fats, particularly unsaturated fats such as omega-3 fatty acids, support brain health and cognitive function. These fats are involved in maintaining the fluidity of cell membranes, which allows neurons to communicate more efficiently. They also play a role in reducing inflammation, which is important because chronic inflammation can interfere with both brain and body function over time. Omega-3 fatty acids, found in foods like fatty fish, flax seeds, and walnuts, are especially important because they contribute to processes related to memory, mood regulation, and overall cognitive performance. Diets that include sufficient omega-3s are often associated with better mental clarity and a lower risk of certain neurological issues. In contrast, diets that lack these fats may limit the brain's ability to function optimally. On the other hand, certain types of fats, particularly highly processed trans fats and excessive amounts of some refined vegetable oils, can have negative effects. These fats can promote inflammation and disrupt normal cellular function. When consumed regularly in large amounts, they may interfere with metabolic health and increase the risk of various chronic conditions. Fats also play a central role in hormone production. Many hormones, including steroid hormones like testosterone and estrogen, are derived from cholesterol, which itself is influenced by dietary fat intake. Consuming too little fat can disrupt hormonal balance, while consuming the right types of fats supports the body's ability to produce and regulate these hormones effectively. Another important function of fats is their role in energy and satiety. Fats are digested more slowly than carbohydrates, which means they provide a more sustained source of energy. This slower digestion also contributes to a feeling of fullness, helping to regulate appetite and reduce the likelihood of overeating. Including healthy fats in meals can make energy levels more stable and prevent rapid fluctuations that are often seen with high-sugar diets. Fats also influence the absorption of fat-soluble vitamins such as vitamins A, D, E, and K. Without adequate dietary fat, the body cannot efficiently absorb these nutrients, even if they are present in the diet. This makes fat intake important not just for energy and structure, but also for overall nutrient utilization. The balance and quality of fats in the diet shape how the body functions on multiple levels, from cellular health and brain performance to hormonal stability and inflammation control. Carbohydrates have a major influence on how your body produces and uses energy, but the impact depends heavily on both the quality and quantity of those carbohydrates. When you consume carbohydrates, they are broken down into glucose, which serves as a primary fuel source for the brain and muscles. However, not all carbohydrates affect the body in the same way, and this difference plays a key role in overall health and performance. Simple carbohydrates, such as those found in sugary foods and highly processed products, are digested quickly. This rapid digestion leads to a fast rise in blood glucose, followed by a sharp increase in insulin. While this can provide a quick burst of energy, it is often short-lived and followed by a drop in blood sugar that can leave you feeling fatigued and unfocused. Repeated exposure to this cycle can strain the body's ability to regulate glucose effectively over time. In contrast, complex carbohydrates, which are found in whole grains, vegetables, legumes, and fruits, are digested more slowly. These foods often contain fiber, which slows the absorption of glucose into the bloodstream. As a result, they produce a more gradual and sustained release of energy. This helps maintain stable blood sugar levels, supporting consistent physical and mental performance throughout the day. The quantity of carbohydrates also matters. Diets that are very low in carbohydrates, such as ketogenic diets, shift the body toward using fats and ketones as a primary energy source. For some individuals, this can lead to more stable energy levels and reduced cravings, particularly if they previously experienced large fluctuations in blood sugar. However, this approach may not be ideal for everyone, especially those engaging in high-intensity physical activity where carbohydrates are a more efficient fuel source. Moderate carbohydrate intake, when focused on high-quality sources, often supports a balance between energy availability and metabolic stability. Carbohydrates are stored in the muscles and liver as glycogen, which the body uses during exercise and periods of increased demand. Adequate glycogen levels can improve endurance, strength, and overall physical performance. Carbohydrates also play a role in supporting the gut microbiome. Many complex carbohydrates contain fiber that is not fully digested in the small intestine and instead reaches the large intestine, where it serves as fuel for beneficial gut bacteria. A diet rich in these fiber sources can promote a more diverse and healthy microbiome, which is linked to better digestion, immune function, and even mental health. Timing of carbohydrate intake can further influence their effects. Consuming carbohydrates around periods of physical or mental activity can improve performance by providing readily available energy. On the other hand, consuming large amounts of refined carbohydrates in sedentary periods can increase the likelihood of energy imbalances and fat storage. The overall impact of carbohydrates on health is not determined by their presence alone, but by their type, amount, and how they are integrated into the broader diet and lifestyle. Gut health is one of the most influential ways diet affects your overall well-being because it connects directly to digestion, immune function, and even brain activity. Inside your digestive system lives a vast community of microorganisms, often referred to as the gut microbiome. These bacteria and other microbes are not just passive residents. They actively interact with the food you eat and produce compounds that influence many systems in your body. The composition of this microbiome is shaped largely by your diet. When you consume a variety of whole, fiber-rich foods, such as vegetables, fruits, legumes, and whole grains, you provide fuel for beneficial bacteria. These microbes ferment fiber and produce substances like short-chain fatty acids, which support the health of the gut lining, reduce inflammation, and contribute to overall metabolic stability. A diverse diet tends to support a diverse microbiome, and that diversity is strongly associated with better health outcomes. In contrast, diets high in highly processed foods, refined sugars, and low fiber can negatively impact the microbiome. These types of diets tend to reduce microbial diversity and promote the growth of less beneficial bacteria. Over time, this imbalance can affect digestion and may contribute to inflammation, which is linked to a range of chronic conditions. The gut lining itself can also become compromised, making it less effective as a barrier and potentially allowing unwanted substances to pass into the bloodstream. The gut microbiome also plays a role in how your immune system functions. A significant portion of the immune system is located in or around the gut, and the interaction between microbes and immune cells helps regulate how the body responds to threats. A well-balanced microbiome can support a more controlled and effective immune response, while an imbalanced one may contribute to excessive inflammation or reduced defense against pathogens. There's also a strong connection between the gut and the brain, often referred to as the gut-brain axis. Microbes in the gut can produce neurotransmitters and other signaling molecules that influence mood, stress levels, and cognitive function. For example, certain gut bacteria are involved in the production of serotonin, a neurotransmitter linked to mood regulation. This means that diet can indirectly affect how you feel and think by shaping the environment in your gut. Another important factor is how well your body extracts and uses nutrients. A healthy gut microbiome supports efficient digestion and absorption of vitamins and minerals, When the microbiome is disrupted, this process can become less effective, even if your diet contains adequate nutrients. Consistency and variety in your diet both contribute to maintaining a healthy gut. Regularly consuming a range of plant-based foods helps provide different types of fiber that support different microbial populations. Fermented foods can also introduce beneficial bacteria that support this balance. Over time, the interaction between your diet and your gut microbiome creates a feedback loop that influences digestion, immunity, and overall health in a continuous and dynamic way. Meal timing and the overall structure of your diet have a significant impact on your health because they interact closely with your body's internal clock or circadian rhythm. This rhythm regulates many physiological processes, including hormone release, digestion, metabolism, and sleep-wake cycles. When your eating patterns align with this internal timing system, your body tends to function more efficiently. When they are misaligned, it can create stress on multiple systems. Throughout the day, your body's ability to process food changes. Earlier in the day, particularly in the morning and early afternoon, your body is generally more sensitive to insulin. This means it can handle glucose more effectively, using it for energy rather than storing it. As the day progresses, this sensitivity tends to decrease, which can make late-night eating more likely to result in elevated blood sugar levels and increased fat storage. Hormones that regulate hunger and fullness are also influenced by timing. Ghrelin, which signals hunger, and leptin, which signals satiety, follow daily patterns. When you eat at consistent times, these signals become more predictable and easier to regulate. Irregular eating patterns, such as skipping meals or eating at widely varying times each day, can disrupt these signals, making it harder to manage appetite and energy intake. Late-night eating can have additional effects beyond metabolism. It may interfere with sleep quality, especially if meals are large or high in certain types of nutrients that take longer to digest. Poor sleep then feeds back into metabolic health, affecting hormones related to hunger, stress, and energy balance. This creates a cycle where irregular eating and poor sleep reinforce each other. The spacing between meals also matters. Allowing enough time between meals can help your body complete the processes of digestion and nutrient absorption before introducing more food. In some cases, structured eating patterns that include defined periods without food can support metabolic flexibility, allowing the body to switch more efficiently between using glucose and stored energy. Consistency is a key factor in making meal timing effective. When you maintain a relatively stable pattern of eating, your body begins to anticipate food intake and prepares accordingly. This can improve digestion, hormone regulation, and overall energy levels. In contrast, unpredictable eating patterns can make these systems less efficient and more reactive. The distribution of calories across the day can also influence how you feel and perform. Consuming a larger portion of your daily intake earlier, when your body is more metabolically active, can support better energy levels and reduce the likelihood of overeating later. Smaller, lighter meals in the evening can help support restful sleep and metabolic balance. Over time, aligning your eating patterns with your body's natural rhythms and maintaining consistency in when and how you eat can support better energy regulation, improved metabolic health, and more stable daily performance. As this pattern becomes consistent, your body begins to operate with greater predictability and efficiency. Energy levels stabilize, hunger signals become more reliable, and your metabolism functions in a more balanced way throughout the day. Instead of constantly adjusting to irregular input, your system runs in sync with its natural rhythms, which supports both short-term performance and long-term health.